Hello everyone, this is Raven Ironwing, and welcome to my channel. This evening I wanted to spend some time talking about what the existence code actually is. So everything in the entire universe is energy. Einstein proved this with his equation E equals mc squared, that matter and energy are two measures of the exact same thing. Light is energy, matter is energy. Everything we see and interact with is energy in some form. If you could unlock all the energy in a potato, it would be comparable to an atomic bomb if you could just release all that energy all at once. Like everything in existence is made up of so much energy. But what is energy? In physics, we define energy as the ability to do work. But when we think about chemical changes and things like that, and what energy is more broadly, I like to look at energy as the capacity to cause a change in a system. So anytime change happens, energy is involved in making that change happen. Energy is the agent of change. If change is happening, energy is being involved. Everything is made up of agents of change because everything is energy. So what everything fundamentally is a structure of agents of change that are interacting with each other. So light is the most fundamental form of energy. Light is often an abbreviation or a simplified name we give for electromagnetic energy or electromagnetic radiation. This isn't just visible light. This includes X-rays, microwaves, radio waves, ultraviolet, infrared, everything on the electromagnetic spectrum we often call light in physics. So light is the most fundamental form of energy. So all these different forms of light are all the same fundamental thing. They just have higher or lower frequencies. So all other forms of energy, all matter, all particles, every other kind of energy fundamentally can be converted back into light, and it all fundamentally comes from light. In the beginning of the universe, there was this huge expansion where light became matter. And we can witness this happening through the process of pair production in particle accelerators today, where we can accelerate these particles so quickly that they generate very high energy gamma rays, which are the highest energy form of light, and that light then turns into matter. And then that matter can then turn back into light through the process of pair annihilation. So Einstein's equations of special relativity show us that light is ultimately the cosmic speed limit, but they also show us that if we could travel on a beam of light in the reference frame of light, there is no time or space. Everything kind of collapses into a point where light is kind of just a state of connection between emitting and absorbing particles. As Einstein put it in his most famous paper, light is a transfer of inertia between emitting and absorbing particles. So the past, the present, and the future are actually an illusion that exists within the structure of this vast energy field of existence that is really timeless and spaceless. And I call this vast energy field of existence that is timeless and spaceless the source. I used to call it the existence code or the source code to existence, but I find that the source is a much better name, and my partner actually came up with this name, and I find it to be just, well, she didn't exactly come up with this name, but it came to her, and I find it to be a much more elegant name. And I think some people confuse ideas of God and religion and spirituality with the source. And we'll get more into that later. But the source fundamentally is the source of everything. It is the collective energy field of the universe. Everything exists in the source. Everything is part of the source. The source is literally the source of everything. It's analogous to this beautiful and elegant web of light. So time and space don't exist for the source. They're like an illusion created by us existing within it and observing our own order. But what does exist is structure, order, organization. So I think of it kind of like this beautiful web of light. Sometimes I call it the light web. I also like to think of it as the source code to a video game. If you look at the source code to a video game, in the game itself, it seems like there's time and space and things are moving and happening, but fundamentally in the source code to the game, the code is just static. There's no time and space in the code, and the code never changes unless it's updated or something. It's just always there. The code itself doesn't have to actively be changing to include all the possible outcomes of the game. So the source itself is like the source code to reality. Fundamentally, everything is coded in connection, in this connected order between energetic entities, between energies in the source. You could think of the source as that cotton ball that Maurizio thought of on the beach of Italy that he told me about in my previous video. I talked about that. And a lot of us have this idea of a source. Some of us call it a god, some of us call it the Tao. I mean, there are many names for this concept of a power that unifies everything, a power that includes everything, that governs everything, that is the source of life and death and existence itself. So the existence code, what it is a collection of ideas, a collection of facts, a collection of physics theories, equations and laws, and experiences from people all over the world, all intertwined together into a comprehensive theory of everything, a theory that explains how everyone and everything is connected in this beautiful source, this beautiful light web. How when we are kind to someone, that someone we're being kind to is not this separate entity from us, but parts of them and parts of us. We share those parts of the code in the source. When we're kind to ourselves, it's very similar in effect to the source, in the source, as being kind to others. When we're kind to others, then we're being kind to ourselves. Fundamentally, and this is something I can prove, but it takes time to explain, every identical structure in reality, is fundamentally the exact same structure in the source. What I mean by that is, so we have billions, trillions, countless electrons in the universe, but electrons are so similar that you can't tell them apart. There's absolutely no difference between them. They're identical. The only difference is where they exist in time and space. But in the source, the code or the structure that forms the electron only exists once, and we're just sharing that electron. The code and structure that represents any fundamental particle is only coded in the source once, and we're all sharing it. We all share like over 98% of our DNA with every other human being, and that 98% of our DNA that we share is only coded once into the source, and we're all sharing the same source code. Meaning we are literally part of each other on a very real level. We are literally part of each other. We're not these separate entities. We are part of one great whole. Now, I'll get a lot more into this in future videos and explain what all this means, but that's all I really wanted to talk about for tonight. So I'll leave you with that, and please post your comments and thoughts in the comments section down below, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day, or a good night, whatever time of the day it is for you.